Now, this is kind of on the same subject. It's a little bit out of your field, but when I saw Jim Hansen speak at the post-carbon the carbon pricing put on by the Post-Carbon Institute, he talked about the difference between linear acceleration of global warming and exponential. And it appears to me that the numbers suggest that we're starting to see doubling, which could be the start of that exponential growth.
Well, it depends on how fast the doubling is, but if you look at the Mauna Loa curve, it is slightly exponential, so it's looking up, and the sea level rise curves are exponential. So yeah.
And that's not where we want to be.
That's not where we want to be. There's a guy, I can't remember his name now, and he said, okay, here's the carbon curve like that, and then he does slices. He spoke at URI a couple of years ago. So he has slices. He says, well, if we do this, we bend the curve over to there. And if we do this, we bend the curve over to there. If we do that, we bend the curve over to here. It's still way up there. But to get it to go back down, start down again, is a big deal. And so, but he had it all divided up into slices to do this and do this and do this. But the temperature guys, Spermira and Ramsor, they took the IPCC temperature predictions that those scientists felt were pretty solid, and said, okay, if we have this temperature rise and the temperature goes up this much, then sea level will rise X amount, because it has to catch up to temperature, basically. So if we put CO2, and then we get temperature, and then we get sea level rise. And so the CO2 is already there, and the temperature hasn't quite got up yet, and the sea level rise hasn't got up to that. So some people would say, some of the climate scientists would say, with the CO2 already where it is, the warming, the temperature warming, and the sea level rise is going to go on for 300 years, even if we didn't put any more carbon in the atmosphere. We've already done it. We've already shot ourselves in the head, basically. So yeah.
And the other thing he talked about is that because we've been taking the slow road of reacting to what's happening, we haven't developed the sciences of mitigation for these more extreme conditions. Like carbon sequestration is basically where carbon sequestration was.
Senator Whitehouse is really disappointed. I remember I was on a science advisory committee when he first got elected, and he was all gung-ho. Oh boy, we're going to have carbon trading, and we're going to do this and do that and do that, and it just sort of went away. And now, if you can't even pass a background check for guns, you got no hope.
Well, he did introduce carbon pricing legislation.
Oh, I know.
And he did do the, so yeah, I mean it's. I think it's depressing, but in my opinion, I think that that could, with the Keystone pipeline, if Obama stands up to the oil interests in that, the disasters that will be coming with the climate, period, could lose them, the House, when you combine the cuts of the sequester that hurts the poor white people.
I have mixed feelings on the Keystone pipeline, because in the short term, it will contribute to our energy independence, but not in the way that you think. Because if they build a pipeline, the pipeline goes down to Texas, they refine the crude and they ship it overseas. So that's so that's where it goes. And so
that goes
The
to
oil,
China.
that oil is going to come out of the ground and get
Well,
consumed in some way or another.
see, that's where I disagree, because I've been following the Canadians, and they've been trying to ship it west. They've been trying to ship it east. It's called the Keystone pipeline because this is the linchpin of that exploitation, and Harper is really, really behind it. Harper and his wife, and this stopping could lose Harper his re-election too, because there's. Austerity is not very popular.
Well, yeah, but so.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. But no, I think that at least Sierra Club's position, which I agree with, is that we need to be concentrating our efforts on renewables and putting our energy into developing those things.
And there's a real pushback, and the pushback is one is the whole pushback on wind turbines.
Remove all doubt.
My next door neighbor, he says, I think they're ugly. I don't want them here. He said, I don't want them in no wind turbine at Black Point. Oh, that one up at the railroad station is ugly. I said, I think they're really neat looking. But anyway, so there's a pushback on that, and then. I'm a native of New Hampshire, and actually I grew up in Laconia, New Hampshire. I was born in Littleton. And have you heard of? You must have heard of Northern Pass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
My brother went to Franconia.
talk about a pushback. Okay, we don't want hydropower. We don't want a power line in our backyard. So.
Yeah. Well, I think that when you compare what we just saw the shoreline of what's coming to that, I think that's where we need to make the comparison. Okay, you could have Post Road being Main Street, or...
But as they say, if you live in Burrillville, what do you care about the shoreline?
Yeah.
And you're just in a little tiny state. So
Yeah.
So yeah, the people north of the Notches in New Hampshire, they're saying, we're fine, we've been here, we'll be here.
It's the
Hell
New
with
Yorkers
all
who
you
are
guys that
important.
moved in from Massachusetts.
It's the bankers on Wall Street that are finally trying to stop climate change.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, we done?
Turn off that dude.
Thank you very much.